So in this video we're going to look at Microsoft Forms. We're going to see how to log into Forms, set up a quiz, look at all the different types of questions in the quiz, learn how to distribute the quiz and make other settings like deadlines and whether we're going to record names or not. And also we're going to see how to review quizzes and also give feedback. So one good way to get to Forms is via the Office 365 page. I just type in portal.office.com and that will take me to the Office 365 page. Now it's gone straight in there now because I've previously logged in. It's a convenient page to bookmark actually because it has a shortcut to Forms and shortcut to Streams, and it also has links to recent Office files shared with you and also links to SharePoint and OneDrive. But either way, we just want to go to Forms. Once you're in Forms, it'll just list all the forms you've previously made. Now if it's the first time you're in Forms, you might get a Welcome to Forms window popping up. I just recommend you click the cross and get out of that. There is a button saying create a new form, but actually we want to create a quiz. A form is really just a questionnaire, and when you see the main Forms page you'll see there's two main choices: new form, questionnaire, or a new quiz. And a quiz, although it looks like the questionnaire, in a quiz you can put in answers to short answer questions and to multiple choice questions. So click on New Quiz. Let's just see the main buttons you're going to use here. We're going to go straight to the title area and add a title for the quiz, possibly a description if that's needed. You could add an image to the top of the form if you wish by pressing this Add an Image icon. So once you finish your quiz, you may want to preview it to see how it's going to look to a student, whether they're looking on a computer or their mobile. You may want to alter the theme, change the colors, change the backgrounds. We'll definitely have to look at the settings via this three dots, this ellipsis menu. And finally we're going to use this share button where we can copy a link so we can share this form via email or perhaps via a link on the VLE, or in Teams or Edmodo or Classroom or any platform you like. But after we've written our title, we're probably just going to go straight into making some new questions. So press Add New. So we'll be offered several types of questions based on the kind of response we're going to need. Choice for multiple choice responses, a text question where we're going to write a short piece of text or a number, or alternatively a long text answer question. There's a ratings question, a 5-star question. There's a question which requires you to add a date. There's also, if we go to the extended menu there, ranking type questions where the answer has to be a series of steps in a certain order. And really usefully, there's a file upload type of question where the student is required to upload a file. It can be a range of files: PowerPoint, Excel, PDF, audio file, a Word document, or a large video file. But to start with, let's go with a multiple choice question. It's really straightforward forms. We just write the question in. So state the function of mitochondria in a cell. We can add an image to this question if we want by pressing the image icon there, or we can really usefully add a link to a YouTube video or a Microsoft Stream video. Don't need one here, and as soon as I've written my question, I'm going to write the alternatives. So site of photosynthesis or the site of respiration. I'll add a third alternative, or the site of protein synthesis. I can put as many options as I wish. Once I've done that, I'm going to select which of these is the correct answer. So I need to hover over the different answers and I'll choose the tick. So site of respiration is going to be the correct answer. Now if I hover over these answers again, we have the speech bubble and I can add feedback there. Incorrect. Mitochondria are the site of respiration. So that response will pop up when they've finished their quiz. I'll also have the same feedback for the other incorrect answer. I don't really need the feedback for the main answer because it's going to be clear that it was the correct answer. Now there's a couple more things I need to do. So I'm going to assign it a single point. Are there multiple possible answers? There are not in this case, and I know that actually just by looking at the questions that there's just a circle, a radio button here, and that tells me it's a multiple choice question with only one possible answer. If I press multiple answers, if I've created a question where I need more than one answer, you'll notice that instead of the round radio button we're going to have a square tick box. But we're not going to use that in this case. Is this a required question? Yes, why not? This means that the question has to be answered before the quiz can be submitted. I'll go to the extra menu here via the ellipses, and certainly if I'm doing a multiple choice question, I'm going to choose shuffle the options. That way, every time this form is opened, the order of those answers will be different. Now I've chosen those little settings and helpfully they are retained in my next question. So if I add a new question, it's a multiple choice again, you'll see yes, it's 1 point again, it's required again, and it's shuffle again. But in my second type of question, actually I don't want it to be a choice question, so I'm going to click on it and I'm going to get rid of it. I go here to the bin icon. So my second question, I'm going to choose a text-based question. Now it's going to be a short text answer, so actually I can write the correct answer in. So, what is the organelle that synthesizes proteins called? We have to be careful with these questions, careful that there is only one correct answer. So I'm going to click add an answer, ribosome. I'm going to add another answer just in case people put the plural, ribosomes. Forms will ignore the case of any answers. I'm going to leave it at 1 point, I'm going to leave it as required, and I'll go to the next question. I'm going to do a text question again. Now remember, I can have either words as the answers here, or I can have numbers, so I can put a maths question in here. Now the maths question may require quite a complicated equation to include, and I can do that if I click the ellipsis and tick maths. What that does is, for example, let's flip over here. I've got my main question and I'm using this equation for chi-squared. So if I click on the equation, it takes me into an equation editor and I'm able to write some really complex equations there. I've also added answers, and they are as numbers. 2 possible numbers, 1 or 2 decimal places here. So my next question, I'm going to choose text again, but this time I'm going to select the long answer option. And what this does, it allows answers up to 4,000 characters long. That's around about 500 words. Obviously with that we can't have a model answer, and we're going to have to actually manually go and read our answers. And we're going to ask them to write an essay on the importance of hydrogen bonding. So the next type of question, well, I could do a ratings question. That's quite simple. It's quite useful in feedback, and anyone responding to a ratings question simply chooses 1 to 5 stars. If we go to the extended menu there's also the ranking question. And in this case, we're going to create several options and we're going to put them in a particular order. An example of that could be something like this. The question is about putting the correct sequence of steps in a particular process. And so when I'm making this question, as it prompts you there, I make sure I put the steps in the correct order in the first place. And then when a student receives this question, they will be randomly shuffled and they have to actually put them back into the correct order. So if we preview that, the ranking question is going to look like this, and I can just drag the responses into the correct order, or I can use these up and down arrows on the right. So another type of question we can use, go to the extended menu, is the file upload question. Prompts you at first that the files that the students are going to upload are going to be placed in a new folder that is being made on OneDrive. So we're going to write in a question, and you can see the options here. We will allow students to just upload one file. It's going to be a video file perhaps, so I'm going to up the size limit to 1 gigabyte. Because I'm going to ask them to do a video file, I'm actually going to go to the extended menu and tick file type, and I'm going to make sure actually they can only upload a video file. If it's a question where there is some freedom to do any kind of file, I can just tick all the appropriate files that I'm happy to accept. I find this really useful because instead of just having to wade through my email to find who has handed in what and when, with a form everything's in one place. I can easily see who's done it and exactly when they did it as well. So one really useful thing with forms is I can add a link to a video in any of the kind of questions. And so that can be great for some flipped learning where you want the students to watch a certain video before the next lesson. It's a great way to see that they do watch the video because we can set them a little task. So any kind of question, we just need to go to the image icon at the end of the title line. We choose video, and then in this space we're going to paste a link from a video we've put on Microsoft Stream, or we're going to paste the link from YouTube. So in this little example I've just instructed watch the following video, then explain what a food chain represents, with the guidance for the word limit. And they can watch that video and then they're going to complete their answer, because this is actually a long answer question. So once you've set up your quiz, it's worth having a preview. So we go to the preview button at the top there. We can see what the quiz is going to look like, exactly what it's going to look like. It's worth a quick check. We can see what it's going to look like on a mobile. That can be useful if we've actually included an image in our quiz. and sometimes the image it may be too small to reasonably use on a mobile. Maybe it's an image of a graph. We have to look at some detail of the graph. It might not be feasible. So once we're happy with the preview, we go back. We're going to go to settings. So we press on the ellipsis and choose settings. Now, do we want them to see the results automatically? Maybe, yeah. On the other hand, maybe you want to keep that off. If you've got a lot of students, what could happen is one does it, they get the results and then they basically see all the answers and pass them on. So you just have to make a judgment of which is appropriate. We're going to choose only people from my organisation can respond. That just means they need to sign in with their college account. With the students, I'm always going to record their name so I know exactly who is answering each quiz. I could use this setting where the student can only do this form once, but I don't mind if they do it again. They'll probably be learning something new if they've got too many wrong. But the good thing is I'll be able to see which was their first response, and that's the response I'll probably record in the mark book. So here I'm going to tick accept responses, which means this form is going to go live immediately. But if I want, I can just say no, I'm going to make this form live next week. This is what I might do if I've got this form on the VLE and I only want it to start when we've finished the content of a particular unit. I can also choose the end date. I'll just give them maybe 2 days to finish this. It's going to end at 6 p.m. You can choose to receive responses if you wish by email, but again it just clogs up my inbox, so I'll leave that out. And the last thing I need to do is distribute this quiz. So I'm going to press share. And I'm going to choose the first thing here. It's copy the link to this form. So I can put this link anywhere. I might choose to put it on the VLE. I just need to go to the VLE. I'll put it in the first topic. Press the cog button. Press turn editing on. Add an activity. I'm going to scroll down and choose URL. Press add. In the external URL, I will paste the link that I've copied. Cell biology quiz. And I just need to press save and return. So here it is on the VLE. I just press the link, takes me straight to the quiz. It's really obvious what needs to be done, and when you've finished all your answers, right at the bottom there's the submit button. Instead of the VLE, I could always just put it into the post area of a team. I just need to paste the link. And actually it'll recognize it as a form. I just press send. Then alternatively, I can set the form via the assignments tab. When I press create, I'll choose quiz and it will list all the quizzes I've already made, and I can just pick one of those. Alternatively, I could also just send it through an email, or I can send it using any other platform I like. So I've distributed the quiz. It's past the deadline now. When we open the form, there's the questions tab where we create the question, and there's the responses tab. I'll click on that. There's been only 3 responses to this. It's given me the average score. And there's some nice little summaries below. Just give me a nice quick overview if I've got a whole class, especially if we're talking about multiple choice answers. it'll give me some examples of the long text answers as well, and also a summary of the ranking answers. So I'm going to go into a bit more depth now, and I'm going to choose Review the Answers. And this takes me to the marking area. Now I can mark each person's response, all of their questions one by one. This is the first respondent. I just click this little arrow on the right, it will take me to all the answers of the next person. It's nice, it's very convenient when it comes to marking, it's quick and it's efficient. Alternatively, I might want to go to and focus on just one question, maybe particularly if it's a long answer question, and I can choose the down arrow there, and I think I'll go straight to the essay question. Let's have a look. So the first respondent's done nothing at all, but the next respondent's made a little effort there. This is really nice, really easy to mark from. I'm going to read it. Unfortunately, I can't actually annotate within their text. So that is a little bit of a drawback, but I can add feedback by choosing the speech bubble here. That gives me a space at the bottom there to give some feedback. I'm going to give them the overall mark there. And I can use that speech bubble in any question to give some added feedback. On this page, it makes it nice and clear whether this has been self-marked, auto-graded, and it just gives me a reminder. It says needs review. I need a review to question 5 because it's a long text answer question. You'll notice here it even tells me how long was spent on the form by each student, and that can be quite informative. And in the upload file type of question, the actual file is there present. Again, it'd be probably useful if we choose the questions type. I'll go to question 6, and actually there's only one student has uploaded a file, but if it was a whole class, all these files would be quite nicely in one place. So once I've finished reviewing, I click back. When I'm ready, I can choose post scores, and this will post the scores to the students. I can check just to see that everything's fine. And I can press post scores. I've actually already posted these scores. A couple more things. We can use this extended ellipsis menu, and I might do this at the end of the year. I'm going to delete all the responses to this particular quiz, or I can print a summary, or I can just print a link to a summary. But before I delete any responses, I'm just going to save them, and that's going to be best via the Excel link here. So I click on that. It's really convenient. It's got all the answers, all the feedback, all the scores, and I can copy those to my own mark book. Just a couple more things. I can use the share button if I'm creating a quiz with another member of staff. Remember that top link was a link to the form that I'm going to send out to learners, but the second link will be a link I send to another member of staff who will be able to edit the same form. Or alternatively, they can receive that form, and as soon as they receive it, they can go to the ellipses and copy it, and they can make adjustments to their form appropriately. Now, if anyone has shared a form with me, I can check with me in the shared with me area, In the group forms area, I can actually see which forms have been created within various Teams classes. So forms, really straightforward, really quick to make a form. They're forms you can use again and again, year after year. If they're well done, if they're carefully done, you can have a multiple choice questions throughout, which will be completely self-marking. I particularly like using the forms to send a link to a video and then follow up the video with some questions, really to test that they have watched the video. And it's super convenient, especially for collecting files, like we've seen in the file upload type of question, because all the files remain in one place. They're not littered all over my inbox. It's just a lot more effective for me to use forms. A form I'm often going to use actually is the exit ticket. It's just a nice simple form I can use again and again. Be a little rating about, did you understand the topics we covered in this lesson today? You'd be surprised how honest these ratings are, and that will of course inform what I'm going to do next lesson. I'm going to dig slightly deeper into that with the second question. I'm going to ask students to write a question about a particular thing they didn't quite understand. And then thirdly, I'm going to let them show off something they did get from the lesson. And I'll ask them to write a question and also a correct answer. That's of course great for me because I might be able to use these responses as a starter in the following lesson. So forms, really the most useful tool that I use. Great for making quizzes. They can be reused. They're great for feedback, both for me and the students. They're great for formative assessment.